March 15th, 44 BC, Julius Caesar lies on the floor of the Senate building, bleeding out from multiple stab wounds.
News of his death spreads far across the Roman Empire, and the people lie in wait, wondering how the next few days will unfold.
Caesar's killers pushed their plan through too quickly, and in their rush to supposedly liberate the Roman Empire, they neglected to address the problem of how Rome would function afterwards without an authority figure in place.
Mark Antony was the first to take advantage of the confusion that ensued. The Senate gave him permission to speak at Caesar's public funeral, and he made a strong appeal to the Roman people, suggesting that they should avenge Caesar's death.
The masses reacted as masses so often do, with violence. People ran through the streets, forcing the liberators to flee Rome, and leaving Mark Antony in charge.
Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and grandnephew, claimed that the money and power that had fallen into Antony's hands belonged to him.
So in an effort to gain the support of the populace, Octavian took advantage of a statement in Caesar's will that promised every citizen a legacy, a monetary reward that would increase the late Caesar's standing with the history books.
Cicero, who, at the time was a member of the Senate, wanted to prevent any possible alliance between Octavian and Antony, so in a series of speeches known as the Philippics, he crushed the popularity of Antony, forcing him to retire from Rome.
During his exit from Rome, Antony tried to seize the Roman province of Cisalpine Gaul. Antony was declared a public enemy, and Octavian was given a position by the Senate to lead an army against him in the War of Mutina.
Octavian succeeded in the year 43 BC, and as a victory celebration, took possession of Rome and was elected consul.
Octavian saw that it would be beneficial for him to become friends with Antony and Lepidus, one of Antony's supporters, so an alliance was formed among the trio, known as the Second Triumvirate. They divided the western provinces among themselves and agreed to divide up the eastern provinces once Brutus and Cassius, two of the liberators, were driven out.
Following the creation of this powerful alliance, the trio assumed consular power for the next 5 years in the Lex Titia decree. Their rulings were to be obeyed without question by both the Senate and the people.
One of the first actions of the Second Triumvirate was the Lex Pedia ruling, which outlawed and evicted approximately 300 senators and 2,000 equites, or knights.
Cicero refused to leave, saying that he wanted to live in Rome until he died. He was killed, decapitated, and his head was sent to Antony.
Having eliminated internal opposition, the three leaders turned to enemies abroad. Antony and Octavian invaded Greece with a large army, approximately 120,000 strong.
In what became known as the Battle of Philippi, Antony and Octavian ultimately forced both Brutus and Cassius, who had united in Greece, to commit suicide. This was a very momentous event because Brutus and Cassius were the last defenders of the Republic, so their death represented the end of the Roman Republic.
In a set of biographies written by Suetonius called Evita Caesarum, or About the Life of the Caesars, we have a surviving account of this battle.
The three triumvirs, Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, all wanted to be in ultimate control of the Roman Empire, and although they were jealous of each other, they hid these feelings.
Both Octavian and Antony accused Lepidus of helping Pompey, the only remaining enemy in the triumvirate. Thus, they gave Lepidus the province of Africa, the smallest region of the three.
Octavian was given control of the West. He won over the people and showed them that he could bring them wealth and peace, then proceeded to get rid of Pompey and his fleet.
With the aid of some of Antony's ships, Octavian defeated Pompey's forces, and Pompey fled to the east, only to be killed by Mark Antony.
Now, with all this going on, Lepidus thought he could use his 20 legions to defeat Octavian and take control of Rome. Octavian didn't think enough of this to even declare war.
He simply went to Lepidus' camp in Africa and made an appeal to his enemy's soldiers, who all promptly deserted and joined his army.
Lepidus was then demoted from his position in the triumvirate, but was allowed to retain the position of Pontifex Maximus, or the High Priest of Rome, so long as he kept quiet about the whole affair.
Octavian had gotten Antony to marry his sister Octavia because he wanted to strengthen their relationship, but Antony was becoming more and more interested in Cleopatra and began to neglect Octavia.
He divided his time among wars in Parthia, which ultimately failed, and meeting up with Cleopatra in Egypt. The Roman people began to see him as Cleopatra's puppet, which began to make the successful Octavian more and more popular.
Soon, Mark Antony's will was found and published. In it, he made Cleopatra's sons his heirs and asked for his body to be buried in Egypt, which enraged the citizens of Rome.
The people asked Octavian to declare war on Antony, but being smart, Octavian staged the war as a battle between Egypt and Rome, simply declaring war on Egypt.
In the Battle of Actium, Octavian's forces, led by his general Agrippa, pushed back the union of the forces of Antony and Cleopatra to Egypt. Antony had thought it would be smarter to fight on land, but Cleopatra insisted to fight as a naval battle.
Octavian followed them back to Egypt, where Antony committed suicide, and Cleopatra, not wanting to be a captive in the Roman triumph, committed suicide as well.
And so Octavian gained ultimate control over Rome, and a new era began, commonly referred to as the Pax Romana, a period of Roman peace.
Like his great uncle Julius, Octavian did not legally introduce a monarchy, since the people of Rome disliked such a government. Throughout the first period of the Roman Empire, known as the Principate, the facade of the Roman Republic remained, but with an autocratic ruler in power. Who were the three members of the Second Triumvirate?
Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus.
Which ruling resulted in Cicero's death, Lex Titia or Lex Pedia?
Lexpedia.
Who did Octavian and Antony accuse Lepidus of helping?
Pompey.
What position did Lepidus retain after he was demoted from the triumvirate?
Pontifex Maximus.
In which battle did Octavian ultimately cause Antony and Cleopatra to commit suicide?
The Battle of Actium.